if you have enjoyed doing this and you think you'd like to do it on black paper, this is how I do it. So any black paper will do. This is the first pad I ever bought off Amazon, and I really like it because the paper's really smooth, gives you a beautiful even blend. So I tend to just keep buying that now. The pastels I use are Stabilo Carbothello. They are not the cheapest, but I find they give me the best color payoff. You do not need a set of 24. You really don't, unless you're doing solar sketching in like prominences and what have you. But what you can do is buy them singly. So I buy the black, the white, and I accidentally bought some lamp black, which was a howling mistake on my part, but turned out to be a really handy mistake. And I'll explain why in a minute. So that's pretty much it. And in terms of how to do it, the principle is exactly the same, except that with pastels, your highlights can just be drawn on top because they show up on the black paper. So I normally put a thin layer of white and blend it, but then the rest of the process is identical to what we've just done. And each of these things around the outside that is casting a shadow, as I showed you earlier on, none of these are complex. There's a white squiggle with a black triangle. That's all these things are. And over here, they're just white squiggles with some shadows in various shapes, but the shapes are more or less running the same direction, not always, but that the sun is coming from the same angle, so the shadows are going to fall the same way. But you can see here these sunken bits of landscape, the differences in tone, so much easier to do in pastels. And all I've done there is blended a really fine bit of white pastel with a really tiny bit of grey pastel, or black, just blended out a lot. And that's all that is, but it gives you that entire illusion that that bit there is higher than that bit. And it is exactly the same principle as what I was doing before, looking at tonal differences, highlight, shade, highlight, shade. That's all that all of this is. And I just love the definition that you get between the light and the shade with pastels. That's why it's my go-to, because I just feel it's got that bit more impact. Trying to get a bright white shadow or a highlight on a pencil sketch is harder. You can actually do it with white paint. I've not tried that, but it very much looks like you've put white paint on some pencils, so I haven't done that myself.